listening to the Extra Point Podcast on the NBL Network. The number one league on Xbox One.
All right, NBL, welcome back to the Extra Point Podcast. As always, I'm your host, Tom, and today I have with me Bomber, owner of the Detroit Lions here. We got a new cover on here, first-time cover athlete. The Bills, actually, on their first time. They've kind of been an afterthought in their division for the last couple years, and they started off 0-5 this year. They weren't doing very well, but now they're 3-5, won 3 straight. So, Bomber, is this team deserving of the cover, and do they have a chance in this division this year?
Yeah, I definitely think that the Buffalo Bills are deserving of the cover right now, especially Sammy Watson. He's leading the team. This team started 0-5. Most divisions that would put you out, but thank God for the AFC East because they are charging back. They're showing a lot of heart. They've won 3 in a row. They're 3-5. The top of the division is tied with the Patriots at 4-4, the Jets with 4-4. So the Bills at 3-5, they're riding striking distance. That's why this makes this cover relevant to what's going on, and it definitely could be an interesting story down the stretch.
And then another team that's been really hot is the Baltimore Ravens. Now, I've played this team in Week 3, and we won 16-13, last-minute field goal. And let me tell you, this was one of the best games I've played in a long time. Pricey and his Ravens, man, he is coaching this team really, really well. And he was kind of an afterthought in his division, too. He had some top 5 picks for the last few seasons, but now he's only a couple games out of the division and really in the hunt for the wild card. So he's on a roll, like I said, 4 of the last 5 victories. What's been working for him?
Well, here's what Nassib did when he took over ownership of the Baltimore Ravens. I mean, what Pricey did. He brought in Nassib, as I mentioned. And Nassib's just been playing terrific for him. He loves the fit. He's been great in the locker room. But if this team really wants to take the next step, I know they're 5-3 right now. They're thinking wild card. They're in such a tough division. But they got to improve that running game. The running game is 32nd in the league. That's dead last. They're having 36 yards per game rushing. They're 2.7 yards per attempt with Niall Davis. I'm thinking the change needs to be made at running back. Niall Davis is not getting it done. Their passing to touchdown ratio is 15 passing touchdowns to only 2 rushing. That's got to change if you want to be a legit contender in the NBL.
And let's bring it now over to the NFC side. I'll talk about Giants wide receiver Brian Mason. He's in his 3rd season now. Actually, our Giants, we've played your Lions a couple seasons in a row. What do you think has really been the strides that Mason has made going forward?
The maturation of Mason. See, that could have been the title, and that could have been the cover. Because this guy in his 3rd year is playing like a bona fide superstar. I'm talking best dynamic duo ever to play in the NBL. We're talking Odell Beckham Jr. and Brian Mason. Brian Mason's leading the league in receiving yards and receptions right now and touchdowns. He's got 39 receptions, 914 yards, and 8 touchdowns. And his counterpart, Odell Beckham, 730 yards, 7 touchdowns. They're getting it done in the passing attack, and they're making the Giants a legit contender, and hence why the Giants haven't lost a game yet. The Giants are constantly putting pressure on the defense, and it's opening up the run game, and they're able to go over top. So this dynamic duo, in my mind, is the best to ever have done it in the NBL, and they're going to continue to improve, and you're going to see some great things in the playoffs this year from the Giants, hopefully.
And I ain't going to argue with that. What a great wide receiver combo it is. But let's move now to a team that's really not been doing so hot. It's kind of a team that's had a little bit of hype around them for the last few seasons, but never really done anything with it. Playa and his Arizona Cardinals. Now, you can point fingers at a lot of different spots on this team. I'm going to point it at he's 30th in points scored, averaging only 13.5 points. And on defense, he's allowing 24.5, 26 most points. So if he's not getting the points, he's not going to win the game. But what is, in your opinion, what is really wrong with this Cardinals team?
Well, as you hinted on, the defense is giving up entirely too many points, and the offense is just not getting enough points. And it's as simple as that. And I want to take a look closely at number 16, their franchise quarterback, TJ Wheeler from the University of Pittsburgh. This guy came in as a stud. He was a second-round pick, but he had first-round talent, and everybody knew it. And you just saw him start developing in his 3rd year, which was 2 seasons ago. He went and had a QB rating of 86.1. He was thrown at 67%. You started to see the wheels turning, and you started seeing the maturity level of TJ Wheeler start to really just progress. Then in the next year, which was last year, this is when you saw him play his best football. He had a 94.9 QBR, 27 touchdowns, 20 interceptions. You probably want a couple of those back, but you like to see the progression. And this year we thought the Cardinals were going to come out. Their offense was going to be electric. He had weapons. He had a great offensive line, and it just has not been the case. This year he's had 72.4 QBR. It's just a regression from the last 2 seasons. And check out his last 3 games. You got versus San Francisco, he threw 54%. Versus New York, versus the Giants, versus your Giants, he threw 41%. Versus the Buffalo Bills, he was at 48%. This all accumulated into 7 interceptions and only 3 touchdowns. I just see a regression in TJ Wheeler. Maybe it's the scheme. Maybe the offensive the quarterback coach needs to get with him. Maybe they need to call in Trent Redmond. He's helped other prolific quarterbacks in the NBL regain their swag, and that's exactly what TJ Wheeler needs to do. He needs to get back to what he was doing last year and continue to grow from that.
You know, I can't argue with that. Quarterback play is probably the most important thing of any team. You can't win without a quarterback, and Wheeler was thought to be one of the best coming out of the draft. He thought he was going to have a wonderful NFL career, but hasn't turned out so. But anyway, next we're going to turn out to one more last contender or pretender team, and that's Homer Hankey. Right now he's sitting on top of his division at 6-3, and we have a quote we have from Inside the Huddle, and this is what Homer Hankey had to say. Absolutely, we are a contender. This team is built for win now mode, and we are showing it on the field. Our defense, top 10, and we are proving why week in and week out. While our schedule has some tough opponents, they are looking at us on their schedule thinking we are tough as well. What do you have to say, though? It's that AFC South over there, it's kind of flip-flop between teams. Colts had it first, Titans had it, Texans were in it for it last year. Is the Colts real? Are they going to be a contender this year?
Well, here's a funny story about the Colts. They're in a division that really never really put out a respectable division champion that the league really considered a contender. I think the Colts are starting to kind of mold themselves into something that possibly could be. I don't think they're a pretender, but at this point I wouldn't say they're a contender either, because their defense, it's top 10, it's 8th. That's correct. It's at the bottom of the top 10, but their offense is in the middle of the pack. They're 15th on most of their stats, 13th in points scored. That's not really going to put me over the hump to say, okay, the Colts, is their year. They're going to win some playoff games. I still expect them to make the playoffs and win that division probably pretty easily, but I don't expect them to win any playoff games this year, even though they're going to have the home field advantage because they won their division.
All right, so there it is. As we're approaching EA Play and E3 now, we're going to remind everyone to make sure you guys come back. We're going to have another podcast coming out right before we all leave for EA Play and E3. Going to talk about what we're going to be doing there, what you guys are going to expect to see, and let me tell you, we're going to have some really, really great content. We're going to have some good interviews with guys, and most importantly, we're going to have some really good Madden 17 gameplay, so definitely check in for that, and it's going to be a lot of good info. So I thank you guys, as always, for tuning in to our podcast here, and we will see you guys back here next time.